Hey everyone, in this episode, we'll be taking a look at Bohemian Rhapsody. We're going to be exploring the cast, the story, and the music. All that and more in episode 90 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Hey Team Reel-ists, welcome to this episode. My name is Oscar.
My name is Donnie.
And we have our producer Ruben here as well.
Hi.
And we have a special guest here as well joining us due to the applause and standing ovation and demand. We have my cousin Adolfo joining us again for this movie. And it sounds like he's going to be excited about this movie, so we'll see how he talks about positive movies. Spin that up. Right. But yes, so... welcome. We hope you are going to enjoy this episode. If it's your first time, hopefully we set the bar high so you come back for more. If you're returning, hopefully we've set the bar high already so that you are coming back because you know what to expect.
Right.
And this episode is not sponsored by anyone, so we're looking for sponsorships.
So if you would like to, please reach out to us.
Right. We'll talk. But I feel like maybe if we start adding that, maybe someone's going to be like, oh, let me sponsor this.
We're like, hey, I know someone who
can sponsor. But yes, so Bohemian Rhapsody is going to be our movie for today. It's going to be a spoiler discussion, so hopefully you haven't had a chance to see it. We gave you exactly almost a week, so
no excuses.
Right, hopefully that was enough. But we'll see. So we're going to go open it up with our quick thoughts. Donnie, do you want to lead this, or should we get this to Adolfo?
Adolfo, do you want to take this one first, being our guest?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool. Pass the mic. All right. Couple of things. One, I loved it. I sat super close in the movie theaters, and I felt like I was almost there, to be honest. And the music was great. I love their music. Who doesn't? A lot of songs were very traditional, and, you know, I kind of was like, wow, I didn't even know they sang these songs. But, you know, it was great. I liked it. Couple of things I did look, into it was the live portion of it towards the very end as to when they actually did the tour. I believe it was in 1985. It was dead on. It was there. I watched it, scene to scene, and I was amazed. I liked it just right off the bat.
Very cool. I'll give you mine. I'm right there with you, man. I loved it as well. I thought obviously the music is great. It's Queen, and one of the things I really liked was that I'd known most of their songs, but there was like one or two songs that were in the film that I had no idea that was Queen. So I was pretty pumped about that. I was like, oh, what? Queen did this? I had no idea. So that was pretty epic. I think it just told, it's one of those biopic films that it shows you the rise and the demise. It gives you how a superstar or whoever came to be. Or anybody, how they got to the point where we know them, and then it kind of goes from there and explains the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think this film gave us that. And unfortunately, Freddie Mercury is no longer around to give his thoughts or comments on the film. But I hope that they portrayed him in a light that maybe he would have been content with, and just hopefully that we got a fair story. But as a movie, definitely entertained, definitely pleased, and loved it.
And just to add on to your the rising and the falling of the star, I was saying that the character's cockiness is what got him the stardom and the fame, and that's also what actually kind of brought him down in the end too. Too much of that. Just enough will do it right, but just too much, will kill you. So
exactly.
All right. So before I share my thoughts, just to cover this movie, in case someone has been living under the rock, just does not know what this movie is. But this movie is a chronicle of the years leading up to Queen's legendary appearance at the Live Aid 1985 concert. And this movie does star Rami Malek, Lucy Boynton, hopefully I'm saying those names right, Gwynlym Lee, Ben Hardy, and more, because there's a whole list.
And many more.
And this movie was directed by Bryan Singer. So with that being said, I really enjoyed this movie. And as said, it was one that I wasn't familiar with Queen outside of the big hits. But like Donnie, I knew there was some songs I was like, oh, that was by them. I didn't know that. But I'm aware of the song. We just listened to one today, actually. That
Another One Bites the Dust?
Yes, there you go. But yeah, so things like that were interesting that weren't covered in the movie. So that's kind of why that was like, wait, was that in the movie? It kind of was probably background, but was it?
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was like used as like a transition, probably.
It was. He was playing the bass line. Remember, he was just playing that doom, doom.
Yeah.
Doom. And they were waiting for Freddie to come, and he was late, and then he almost got in a fight with that other guy.
Right.
In the band. That was the scene.
Yeah. So it was things like that were kind of nice to kind of follow along. And I've been telling people that if you don't know Queen, it's a nice recap of their like musical journey. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not an in-depth look at each person's individual life and where they went with Queen when they were touring and all that. It was just like a quick highlights of how they joined, their first album. I want to say close to iconic moments that established Queen as a band. Mm-hmm. So yeah, leading up to the Live Aid concert. So
right.
A very enjoyable. I definitely enjoyed it. The performances were fun. It did feel like it was during the time period. They didn't say what year did they begin? Did they?
I feel like they did. No,
the year was like 1970, maybe.
Okay, because I mean, it felt like we were in that time period. Like it didn't feel like this was made last year. So
you're right. No, yeah, it was definitely like 70s. It's when it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of great things to talk about this movie. The main one is going to be Rami Malek's character or depiction of Freddie Mercury. So I want to open that up to what you guys thought of this because it's getting a lot of buzz for Oscar worthy nomination. Well deserved,
I think. Yeah, the only critique I have, we all had talked about this, is I think the teeth were just a little too big for his face.
Dude, honestly, it was pretty dead on, actually. If you watch him, in real life, it looks over-exaggerated, but it looks pretty dead on, dude.
He definitely got his moves and his choreography down pat. Like specifically, we all seen the Live Aid concert at the end. So in the real life with Freddie Mercury, and I mean he mimicked him verbatim, like every move, the way he grabbed the mic, the way he did poses, like it was him. So I think definitely Rami Malek did an amazing job.
And it's one that I've seen him in so many different roles. And all the roles that he's been in have been very more calm and collected kind of character, where it's just there's either a special trait about him or a skill. But this one was definitely a complete different character than what he's played before. So it was really nice to see that, yes, he has the range to be able to go, and the fact that this was accurate, too. That's one thing. He wasn't just making this up. He was being very real with who Freddie Mercury was. So that was really nice to be able to know that he can provide that. He's very good at creating a character, and he can also interpret a character in the fact that he was.
And I feel like too, I feel like we're like watching a star rise, like because a lot of people don't know who he is. Like a lot of people, at least like that I work with, they were like because I was telling them about the film, and they're like, who plays him, and like who is that guy, and I hadn't really even seen him in anything before. So, but I feel like after this film, everybody's gonna know who he is.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the last movie I saw him in was Need for Speed. Did you see that movie, Donnie, or is that another movie?
No, I only played the game. I never saw the movie.
We're just repeating last week now. You got a counter.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Make sure you have a counter for him.
Did you even see the movie I told you to go see?
Did you see the movie I told you to go see?
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm familiar with his work. That I've seen a lot of that stuff that he's done. So to me, he was like, I already knew he was talented. To me, that what I was really curious was can he bring this kind of character to life? Because it was just very different than what he's done. But yeah, so Mr. Robot is his more iconic role that he's had that has been very successful, and he's won awards because of that. So that's really, really nice to see that he's going to get, if he gets nominated, I don't know if he's going to win, but the fact that he would get nominated.
There's no way he will not get nominated.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll win, but I would bet money. I'd put $1 million down that he'll get nominated.
Oh,
or it'll
dang.
be the biggest Oscar snub ever.
We'll see. I mean, when the Golden Globes come out, that's going to be the biggest indicator, and that comes out next month.
Woo woo!
It's time already.
It is. We are approaching award season.
Yeah. Did any of the other characters stand out? Was any of them that you kind of were just like, I mean, I don't, not based off accuracy, but just as a character that stood out? And the next question I have.
Okay. I didn't know. I was trying to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't get my words right. Adolfo, I'll let you take that one.
I was gonna say the girlfriend. I forgot her name. What's her name?
Mary.
The Mary. Definitely the actor that she portrayed. It was great. I think. When he asked her to marry him. They're in the bed, and then they do that whole love scene, and then later you come to find out that he's gay, and she knows it. That was kind of it was strange, and I felt for her and I felt for him, and that scene was really nice. I didn't cry or anything, but I kind of was like,
That's
wow.
not what I heard.
No, I did not. But I mean, as far as from all the other actors, I would think she was probably the best too.
I really liked the other bandmate, the one who had the really, really big curly hair. He was kind of like the voice of reason throughout the film.
Yes.
He was kind of like
that's why I asked the question. But yes.
Yeah, trying to keep Freddie kind of grounded a little as best as he could, because Freddie just had the biggest ego in the world.
Dude, and his hairstyle was on point.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
It was, yeah. I mean, freaking humongous hair. Insane. But he was probably one of my favorite other characters. Just a good. I mean, they were all, I like the whole band. I feel like all the band members together had a chemistry that worked well, and it seemed like a real band. It's not like they tried to sugarcoat the fact that they always got along or they always saw eye to eye. Like if they showed some scenes where it's like, they're arguing over who wrote what and this and that. And, that I'm sure that's how bands, work. Like, it's like, especially when you get to that level of success. And it's like, I really appreciated that they gave us those moments, or like, even little tiffs or little fights that they had.
Right. And also, speaking of actors, was that Mike Myers, the record label guy? That was him, right? Okay.
And I did not realize that was him until after we saw the movie.
Wow.
Like until after we left the movie, because I remember seeing his name, but as soon as the movie started, I forgot about it, and I was like, he'll pop up somewhere, and then I came home and I was like, wait, I never saw him, and then I realized it was him. It was crazy.
Yep.
That's Mike Myers. He definitely loves to be heavily in the character that you don't even recognize him. Crazy. But no, that character that you did mention, I think it's John. Was it John? I'm gonna take a risk and say
Perhaps.
John. Because I don't know the band names. I think that's formerly they just known as Queen.
Yeah.
But yes, that person with the long hair was a very nice contrast to Freddie Mercury, and that was really, really fun. I felt like that balanced it out. That kind of brought the reality a little bit, because if it wasn't for him, I mean, maybe the other band members too, but I felt like Freddie Mercury would have kind of not made the right marks. Like, he made the right marks because they like helped hit them, but with him, he probably would have went too far in the beginning, and didn't make that first album or stuff like that. I feel like that's probably would have not helped Freddie Mercury, and if he was like trying to do solo or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did go solo, but that kind of thing. So but I felt like it was a nice contrast to kind of have that band that's just like, no, we're still a band. Like, this is a team. Like, you're not carrying us. You're not doing this, for yourself.
Right.
And you can tell based off the way the movie and how it was going, that it was getting to his head a little bit. Like, it was just like, starting to feel like he could be a little bit more creative or be,
Mm-hmm.
a little more artistic. So really
Right.
nice. So yeah, the music was just that iconic music that you recognize in other movies, or you recognize for sports games. Like,
Yeah.
it definitely has
Seriously.
that association. So, was there anything that you didn't know or you appreciated from the music? Was it like the way they made like Bohemian Rhapsody or anything like that? Because that to me was the highlight. Was kind of just the creation of these songs. I don't know whether that's accurate. I'll say that. I don't know if it's accurate, like with how they came up with "We Are the Champions," but that was like a nice way to like, oh, let's do something for the fans. and then it came with that beat, and so things like that was nice.
I mean, those scenes were great because obviously these are what, like you guys said, these are iconic songs. These are like everybody knows these songs. They might not know the words or who the artist is or even the name of it, but they know the song. It's been referenced at some point in some way, within, pop culture in some form. So it was great to see the kind of the cultivation of them and how they came to be, and just how the composition of it was really interesting. Specifically the song Bohemian Rhapsody, that was a really fun one to watch. Or even just like when they were doing another one, Bites the Dust, and he was just playing that bass line because everybody knows that bass line, and they're just like, oh, that's cool, what is that, or what, it's like, it's cool. I really liked it. Adolfo.
No, I mean, I got nothing else to add to it. I mean, other than the music was great. As far as like portraying exactly, I'm not too sure. Back in 80s, late 70s, I was born in the 90s, so I wouldn't know too much. But I mean, like you said, of course, the music. There was a couple of songs. I think for sure the "We Are the Champions." For some reason, I thought, what's the band that says "Don't Stop Believing"?
Journey.
I thought the Journey sang that. But, again, what do I know? So when I found out, I was like, oh, that was them that sang that song. Okay,
yeah.
that's totally cool. And, yeah, I appreciate music. I listen to all kinds of music, and I definitely liked it.
I had that moment with Break Free when they were, we got to break free. I'd heard that song a million times, because I listened to 80s station at work or whatever. But I had no idea it was Queen. I would never have guessed that. So when they were shooting the music video for it in the movie, I was like, what? Like, it was really cool.
Dude, and they were huge. They were comparing them to the Beatles. I mean, as far as like back then, I'm not too sure, but I mean, the Beatles were the biggest thing in the world, and the fact that they were compared to them just goes to show, they were massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely were, both in like the UK and here. It wasn't just like here. But yeah, no, it's really cool. To me, the song that I was like that. Oh, they did that was Under Pressure with David Bowie. I know it wasn't highlighted in this,
and it wasn't in the film.
But
and I wonder why.
Looking at their hits, because obviously, if you go see this movie, you probably go look at their like greatest hits on whatever music platform you use. So to kind of see that song and be like, oh, I know this song, to just have that what's that word? There's a word for that. Not mind blown, but.
Revelation, Epiphany,
Eureka, kind of whatever. Yeah, Epiphany.
Eureka. Casting spells over here. All right. Yeah. I got you.
I just wanted to mention that.
So just to be clear, Vanilla Ice did not make that beat first, right?
No.
Okay.
He sampled it. But I don't. A lot of people I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that. I didn't know that Queen did that song. Well, Queen and David Bowie. Like, I had heard that's another song, which it wasn't in the film, unfortunately. I wish they were. Or was it?
Yeah, it was.
Was it where?
Yeah, it was like in the background in a scene.
Okay, well then.
Well, that to see that, but it wasn't like in the
wasn't
forefront.
highlighted.
Yeah.
I wish they, I wish they would. That's a big one too. I wish they would have highlighted that one. I wonder why.
I was surprised by that one.
Yeah.
Like a reference of like, oh, David Bowie called or something. Yeah.
But this is what it is.
It is what it is.
They can't highlight every single song, right?
We want a full 8-hour movie.
I know,
that
right?
covers all their hits.
Seriously.
But yeah, so were there any particular scenes that stood out for you, too?
No, I think as far as scenes go, in the movie, obviously he's coming out and all that. To me, it just felt like no matter where he was, everyone around him was, coming out and being gay, and I thought that was kind of interesting because, I didn't realize how acceptable that was back then, and they were such a big deal, and I'm assuming he was openly gay, right? Donnie, do you know?
To be honest, I'm not sure. He wasn't openly gay, like, from the point of, like, from when his career started, because the media would ask, like, in that scene where they were being interviewed and they were asking him about his sexuality, and he wasn't
right,
giving, like, a direct
really
answer.
frustrated.
So I don't think, like, he was openly gay. I don't know at any point. I mean, maybe towards the end. I'm really not sure, though.
I don't think he was.
Well, towards the end, I know he spent the rest of the remaining years with his partner,
right?
Jim, I forgot his last name, but with Jim
Horton,
something like that.
maybe.
But I thought that was really interesting. I didn't realize that was such a, like, I don't know. I just thought they'd make it a much bigger deal, considering now how everything's going on. Back then, it was totally different. So I thought that was a little interesting. I liked it.
For sure. One of the scenes that stood out to me for a more sad reason, I think, was the scene when he threw that really, really big party. And this was the night he met Jim.
Right, yes.
And I just remember feeling so bad for him because you knew that all of these people that were in his home were not there because they were really his friend. They were there because he was who he was. And, they wanted to rub elbows with Freddie Mercury, I'm sure. But I just felt like it's one of those instances, like in a room full of people, you can feel so alone. And I don't know, for some reason that scene just breathed that to me for some reason. I just felt like he was surrounded by all this money and all this food and champagne and alcohol and women and men and everyone. But like how lonely he must have truly felt. And he really didn't have the only real friends that he had were his bandmates. And he was treating them really badly. And I just felt like, I was like, dude, if you turn them away, you're going to have nobody on your side other than the people that, only want to use you. So that was a little sad for me, but
right.
I remember that was it worked. It really, it really did.
To me,
and then obviously, sorry, just throw this out there.
Go ahead.
The last performance, the Live Aid concert, that was obviously a great one.
Okay. To me, yes, the Live Aid concert was a big. It was nice to see it play out fully, though, like to not just get like a sample and then the cut to credits, but like to see it go through all of it was really nice.
Yeah.
But no, the one thing that stood out to me was when they were meeting Ray Foster, and they were arguing with the album of what the first track should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times as any artist or anyone that's, trying to, be successful, you have that counter, you have that one, person that's like, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for years. I know how to be successful. And you kind of question and challenge that. And you're kind of just not sure what to, really to do. Like, do I take a risk? Do I say, fine, we'll do what you say? Or do I go above and stand for what I believe in? It kind of has that kind of thing. And to see, like, they really stuck to what they thought was going to be the hit, which was Bohemian Rhapsody, to the point where they left Ray Foster. And so, they threw a rocket through a window, but a little extra. But the fact that they left was kind of like, wow, like they really believed in themselves as a band. It wasn't just Freddie Mercury. It was like the band themselves believed that was a hit.
I do love that you point that out, because they all were like collectively saying this. It wasn't just Freddie Mercury. They were all saying, this is Queen. This is, there's an operatic section in it. There's rock and roll. There's ballad. But this is us. Like, genre does not define us. We play for the, that their whole thing was, we are for the misfits, for the outcasts, for the people that don't belong. You're not going to keep us in a box. We're everything and nothing at the same time, essentially. And I loved that they really all, you could feel like that passion in all of them in that scene. I think that was a great one.
And I love the line that when he was like, 6 minutes is too long. And Freddie Mercury was just like, well, if you think 6 minutes is too long, I feel sorry for your wife.
That was a good comeback.
Right. That was a really enjoyable scene. But yeah, with the Live Aid concert, it was really nice to see that in its full. So I do want to ask this question, just because it's one that it's a big point with movies and adaptations, accuracy. So there's a lot of things supposedly that are kind of not accurate to the point that it was interpreted differently. The biggest one being that he was, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he came out to the band prior to the Live Aid concert that he had AIDS, but it was after that had happened.
In real life,
it was after. Yeah. So that kind of thing that you find out, does that impact your view of this movie? Because I know, yes, you go see it and you're like, oh, it was great. I loved it. I love how they put it together. But to find out that, oh, that's not how it happened, very similar to like First Man with the daughter's bracelet. How does that make you like view that? Does that change your perspective on not just this movie, but any movie?
Not so much. I get that. Because things get changed all the time. That's just how Hollywood works. They take a story and they embellish it and elaborate on it, some more than others, and they add things in to make the movie more entertaining, more appealing, more emotionally stirring, more whatever, more. So it doesn't deter from the film for me. You know, if it was just a complete lie and he never told his bandmates that, he never told them or something, and they found out on the news that he dropped dead from AIDS, then that'd be, you know, maybe that'd be something different. But the fact that it was just like, oh well, in real life he told him after the concert, but in the film, for movie's sake, we're gonna have them tell him before. Like, that doesn't do much for me.
You know, I'm confused. You know, okay, yeah, he died of AIDS, and I mean, was there not something he could have done? I mean, Magic Johnson is still around. You know what I mean? Like, that was a little, like, I don't know. And also, the other thing, too, was that I wanted to add was, shoot, I had it. It was in the back of my mind.
It's a recurring theme for you.
It's okay. Think about it. Take a second.
To me, it's kind of tough because as a movie, I don't know if I would necessarily then say, like, this is the movie you need to see for a particular story that's being told. I think as a movie itself, you can still say it's great, it's entertaining. But yeah, so like not in this case or a lot of biopics, but a lot of times you probably be like, oh, that was a great movie, but watch this documentary because the documentary tells you a lot more. It's kind of like that kind of thing. It's like if you want to watch a good movie that ties into a real life, you know, person or event, then yes, it's an entertaining film. But there's always another accurate representation story being told that's a documentary.
For sure.
And also, it came back to me to add on to that was the lead singer also was not the first to break up the band, or not the only one at least. The drummer, I think he came out with like 2 albums. The guitarist came out with like a mini album. So they portray like it was all on him, but in reality, they all kind of try to do their own thing. It didn't work out. Obviously, they're much better as a group, and they all realized that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So now I don't like this movie. Just kidding.
So that changes my whole view on the film.
All right.
For my score. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, actually, good tie in, Adolfo. Final real score. So we'll give it off to you since you sound like you have it all set. So what's your score?
Honestly, my score is a 4. I loved the movie. The music was great. I was like dancing along with it. I was, singing to it. The actors were real. I felt the emotion. I was going through the emotions with them, and I just enjoyed it. I sat there and I was into it. I wanted to know what's going to happen next, and I wanted him to win. I wanted all of them to win, so it was great. I loved it. I recommend it.
All right. I'm going to give it... Going between two scores here.
Don't you dare.
Don't do it. I'm going to give it a... I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I thought it was really, really well done. I think for a biopic, I think it hit all the right points. It took the highlights of like this band's career and how they got their rise and the difficulties that they went through and the struggles that they went through. And it didn't seem like they were trying to give us a super polished version of Freddie Mercury's life. It seemed like they were trying to be, he was really cocky and really a jerk a lot of the time, some of the times in the film, which I think, they wanted to like just be realistic about it. And I'm sure his band members would agree, like, yeah, he was like this, like he was difficult to work with. He was also a great human being, but he had, this was Freddie Mercury, take it or leave it kind of thing.
Right, and the band did have input in the movie, so.
Right, so I think, and I think they tried to just stick to as real of an honest portrayal as they could, and I think it worked, and I think the actors were great, the pace of the film was great. I really liked just the way it was shot. There was a couple of scenes that I really liked. One when they released Bohemian Rhapsody and they were showing like the clips from like media outlets and newspaper articles of all the things that they were saying about the song. That was really nice. A really nice touch. When they went on tour, they had these kind of like visuals of like these like kind of outlined colorful things of them being on tour, like different cities that they were going to. I don't know if you guys remember that scene, but that was really nice.
It was like a very 70s retro kind of like...
And just the way it was filmed, there were a couple scenes that were shot where you were like kind of looking at the reflection in like somebody's glasses or the gloss of the piano when he was sitting at the piano at the Live Aid concert. It just had a lot of beautifully shot scenes that I really, really appreciated. And I mean, it was great. It was a really good film. It got me pumped. It got me amped. It tugged at my heartstrings. It had some funny moments, and to hear the music in an enclosed theater at that loud of volume is just like gave me chills and goosebumps. And I don't really have anything bad to say about it. So 4.5 out of 5.
But doesn't make the 5 mark. It's so close.
Well,
it's so close.
It's not a 5 because it focused solely on Freddie Mercury, and it didn't really go so much into the other band members' lives, personal lives.
It was so close. It's probably the closest we've gotten to a 5 from Donnie. So close. Right there.
It was right there.
It was like a 4.8 on a reality scale. It was a 4.8. But yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 4. So I mean, I should have gone after Adolfo before you did, because you ended it on like a very
that was pretty strong.
Thank you.
Right.
It's okay.
And here I am with like
Forget about me.
but here I am with like it was a 4.
Slow your roll there, Donnie.
No, but yeah, it was a 4. It was a really entertaining film. Great performance by Rami Malek. So I'm very curious to see if he wins awards from this. I felt like the story was very interesting. I think one of the things that to me was what you just mentioned was that the band members didn't get enough attention. It was mainly on Freddie Mercury with an understanding of why he's the lead singer. He was the real thing that you remember more from the Queen than any of the band members, depending on your level of fandom. But
sure.
So I understand that, but I feel like this is a movie to also truly give Queen the opportunity to say this is who we were, and they had their involvement. So I don't know if they were if they were told like this is going to be Freddie Mercury's journey with Queen. Because it was very very interesting thing, and I felt like the highlights that they did, it was good, but I felt like they kind of also rushed through some of their moments too. We didn't get a chance to really fill that in, and to me it's very similar to A Star Is Born, where it was like a lot of moments that were just pushing us through. Which again, the pacing was fine, so it wasn't us like affecting it, but at the same time, we're kind of losing a sense of time of like how much time has passed. That kind of feeling of like we've grown with these characters rather than like we're just recapping. So that to me, I feel like impacted it just a little bit more, just because they maybe could have done it differently, and maybe they could have, instead of the highlights of things like that, which were visually nice. I like, as you said, the recap of the concerts where like they would do like one note and then it would like kind of like a glow shadow effect. So that was very interesting, and I felt like the ending was really strong to end it on that kind of I don't know if that's their biggest. Is that probably their biggest thing that the
Live Aid concert?
Yeah, that they really are known for outside of the songs being successful.
Dude, it was like billions. I mean, how much more bigger do you wanted to get?
Although the CGI for the audience, that was
that was another thing. We all did kind of mention that CGI.
The CGI audience
was a little lackluster.
So I feel like it was very strong, but as it's one of those kind of, and I say this just because when you take something that was real. And then you kind of change it just for the movie's sake. It's not fair to the realistic portrayal. Like The Greatest Showman, how they took B.T. Barnum and they really changed it. Like that kind of is one where you like when you go read it after him and you kind of see like, oh, he was not a nice guy and he was not really friendly with his I don't know, what do you call him, his crew.
But his performers.
Yeah. So it does kind of control a little bit. It does have an impact, but as a movie it's still entertaining. But if they're gonna say this is a real portrayal of this band, I don't know, there should be some kind of honesty to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, so it's just a 4, but it's really a really entertaining film. I definitely could watch it multiple times. I'm not saying like I don't want to watch it, but it was really solid. Solid. So
really quickly, favorite song from the movie?
Bites Dust. I'm actually singing that in my head right now.
Another one, Bites Dust. Okay.
That's tough because I feel like there's only 2, Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions, that are really like the ones that got the most attention.
Yeah.
I will say We Are the Champions just because how it was built and then when it was used, that was a nice kind of
very effectively.
Yeah.
Very like I said, when they was playing, it was giving me chills. I'm gonna say Bohemian Rhapsody is out of. I mean, all those songs are great, but that's still my favorite one.
Are you talking about in the movie or just the song?
No, just in the movie, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Or I mean, I don't know, both. I wasn't specifying there. Just, I guess anything.
Yeah, I just didn't know because you made it sound like it was like all-time favorite songs. So I was like, wait a minute, that does.
I don't know. I mean, movie, however you interpret it. However you interpret
We'll
it.
just leave it as that.
Okay.
So hopefully everyone had similar thoughts to ours. If not, we'd love to hear it on any of our social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Team Reel-ists. That's Team REELISTS. We know Adolfo follows us on those platforms, so
I do.
Exactly. See, he's doing his job.
Good job.
But yeah, so definitely keep in touch with us. Hopefully you enjoyed this film, and we'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Things that you didn't like, maybe we didn't talk about something. Anything about it, we'd love to hear it. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning into the episode. Thank you, Adolfo, for stopping by again.
You're always welcome here, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And if you want more from Adolfo,
check out his Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
I'll be going solo soon, so no,
it's gonna be called the Real One, the Real One podcast. But yes, thank you everyone for this tuning into this episode.
See ya.